Welcome back at the third video of creating a to-do list in JavaScript. In this video, we will focus ourselves on the backend of the application. We will start by importing some packages and get our server running. Later on, we will create some routes where we can send API calls to from our frontend. We will also serve some static HTML files to our browser. So let's take a look at our server.js file. As you can see, we're importing fs at the top of our file, which stands for file system. We are going to need this because we want to edit and read our db.json file. This is going to be our temporary database, which can later on be converted to a real database. At the second line, we're importing Express. Express is a framework for NodeJS, which makes things easier to write and you will get more compact code for the same result. So these two lines are just to import the framework and initialize the framework. At the fourth line, we created a variable port. This will be our port number where our server is running on. Alright, we're going to start by trying to run our server. For this, we will need NodeJS to be installed. And you can go to the NodeJS website and download the installer for Windows or for Mac. Once installed, you can go to the terminal of Visual Studio Code by the top menu. And we can try to run our script by using node and the name of our script, server.js. The first time we will try to run it, it will give us an error because it's trying to find the Express framework, but it is not yet installed. So the first command we are going to do is npm init-y. This will create our package.json file. This is containing some information about our development and especially containing all the packages we are going to install. So the first package we're going to install is Express. We're going to use the command npm install or npm express. As you can see in your package.json, we have a new line, which is the package we just installed. The advantage of having a package.json is if we're installing or want to work on this project on another PC, we can just use the command npm install when we have a package.json, and it will automatically install all the packages which are in the dependencies object. So this really gets its use when working with GitHub, for example. Node modules itself is something we don't want to push to GitHub because it are really a lot of files, like you can see, 332 changes. So most of the time you will create a file like a .gitignore with node modules inside of it. So the node modules won't be uploading to GitHub. So that are the basics about installing packages and how to use the npm command. All right, so let's start to run our script again with the command node server. All right, and now we have no errors anymore. But like you can see, there's nothing happening because we have nothing in our script yet, so there will nothing be executed. If I just say console log here, for example, hello world, this will just work like regular JavaScript. It will print hello world in our terminal. We want our server to be running continuously. So the first thing we are going to do is creating a server, and we can create one by using app.listen and then the port, and we are going to use the port variable, and then a function. I'm going to use a arrow function, and then print a console log with server is running on localhost, and then we are going to add the port variable. So if I would execute our commands again, we have now a server running on localhost 3000, and it is a continuous process. So the command won't stop, and it will still be waiting for any other commands we are sending to our server. And that is what we want. The next package we are going to install is nodemon. This is because every time we're updating our file, like so, hello becomes hello, and I save it, our script isn't updating in our terminal. So that is what nodemon does. Every time when we make an update, it will restart the server. If we would do it without nodemon, we have to exit our server by using the Ctrl+C command and start it again. And now we can see hello world has become hello. So the next package is npm install not express nodemon, and we use the -g to install it globally on our computer so we can use it everywhere. All right, now it is installed, so we can use the nodemon command instead of node, and then the name of our script, nodemon server. And now you can see if we are updating our script, you can see that our terminal restarts and executes our script again. All right, and the last package we are going to install is the .env package, because we are trying to get a variable from a env file, an environment file. So I'm going to exit again by using the Ctrl+C command and installing .env. I'm going to require it, so I'm going to make a new variable .env is equal to require .env, and then we need to execute it or initialize it by using .env config. All right, so the env file or the environment file is a file where you save all your important or secret variables. For example, like a password for a database or a port number like we are using here. So I'm going to create the .env file. I will use a port variable is equal to, let's say 3001. And now if you would execute our script again, nodemon server, you can see our server is running on the port 3001 instead of 3000. So what this does is, if we don't have an environment file, it is going to select the port 3000. If it does have an environment file, it's going to get the variable port out of the environment file. So I'm going to change it to 3000 because I want to use the port 3000 for now. All right, now that our server is running, let's go to localhost 3000. At the moment, we get an error message cannot get. This is because we have no routes declared in our server. We need to declare routes or something else to say what it needs to do whenever we are navigating to this URL of our server. So what we are going to do is whenever the server is navigating to some page, in this case it's just navigating to the home page, I want to serve static files. When we are at the home page, I want the index.html. When I go to the about.html, I want it to serve the about.html of our public folder. So we can do this with one line of code, app.use and then express.static, which needs a parameter, and that should be the folder where our static files are. And this is the public folder. So with this line of code, it is going to serve at the home page, it's going to search for a index.html. And if it's navigating to something else, for example, about.html, it will look for a about.html in our public folder. I'm going to add one more variable here, and that is dir name. Dir name stands for directory name, so it's just all the folders which are before the public folder. So our main folder and everything before will be added to the URL. So it's always passing the correct URL to our function here. All right, so let's see. Now when we are navigating to our home page of our server, it just gives us the index.html back. All right, so we are finished with the first part of our server. We imported some packages and we are able to serve static files to the browser. In the next part, we are going to create some routes so we can send API calls from our frontend to our backend. See you in the next video.